we can be and do and say and think and hear and all of that exactly the way God wants us to. But we need to incline our ear to him, incline our ear to his way, to his word. We need to just learn from Jesus. God showed me a while back that in that day we're gonna know even as we're known. And so how I understand that is that in that day we're gonna see ourselves the way that God always saw us. And the fear of the Lord for me is that I'm going to see myself the way the way he always saw me, and therefore I could have lived that way, the way he always saw me. And so the fear is the fact that I didn't. Now, it's not about condemnation. It's not it's not about a lack of rewards or what have you. It has nothing to do with that. It just has everything to do with, man, God says this is who he says we are. And yet I just see this much. I know that it says we see through a glass darkly, and know that, it says that we know in part. And so I get that. I totally get that. But at the same time, God doesn't see in part. God doesn't, to say that's an excuse is to say that God is limiting you. And I don't think God is limiting you. I do think that God is protecting us. He's guarding us from entering into something that we're not yet ready for. I agree with that. But to say that, we know in part, we see through a glass darkly, to say that as, well, we're never going to come to the knowledge of the truth. We're never going to know even as we're known on this earth. I don't know. But what I do know is to say that because God has stipulated it that way is to say that God is limiting us. And I don't think he's limiting us. I think what he is doing is protecting us. He's guarding us. And he's saying, rise out of sleep. Awake, O sleeper. And that's what I believe. At this point, that's what I believe. I believe that we can be and do and say and think and hear and all of that exactly the way God wants us to. But we need to incline our ear to him, incline our ear to his way, to his word. We need to just learn from Jesus.